Hello everybody, and welcome to the Tavern. Today's episode we're going to be talking about character building, or character creation. So, just the initial, before you've started a campaign, or before you've started a one-off session, you've got to choose or make the character that you're going to be playing. And
you do?
we had kind of talked earlier, and all three of us have kind of a different method of approach on that. So we were like, well, that should be our topic then, because we can have a pretty good discussion about what our thought process is. Yeah. So we can go across this way. Start with you.
Me.
Yeah, so what's your order of operations for assembling a new character?
Parentheses. For me, I generally try to have a vague idea of what type of character I want to be playing, but I base that essentially off of what kind of a campaign that I know I'm going to be playing. So we've done one-off campaigns, so sometimes I'll make more wacky throwaway characters just as a fun experiment, because it's just we're only going to be playing this one time, why not play a giant tree person who's a wizard? But then if I know it's going to be a more long-winded campaign, I kind of want to make a more detailed character that I put a little bit more time and heart into. So I usually start off with kind of I described it to you guys as a silhouette of a character. I usually know what class I want to play, but not necessarily which race. And I kind of know what their alignment is going to be, and as I am actually rolling the character for the character sheet, I come up with the more fine details to fill in a backstory. So maybe I'll be for my tiefling character Pip, I was she just wants to help, she wants to be a healer, and she's a druid, she really likes nature, she comes from a swamp. Cool. And then as I'm actually rolling the character, I'm oh, this feat could be because of this thing in her backstory, or this could go along with this part of the way she thinks, things like that. So I sort of take feats and character personality traits as her abilities and sort of clump them all together to fill out the fine details of my character.
And so the backstory develops along the way as well.
Yeah, so I have a vague idea of what kind of character I'm playing, but as I'm actually rolling the character is sort of when I decide the more fine details of what type of a character my character is going to be. And that's usually how I go about things.
Nice.
How about you?
I get really indecisive especially if it's going to be a campaign that we're gonna hopefully be playing for an extended period of time. So I will make 3 characters. Full, pick a race, pick a class, all the powers, the feats, everything, assemble them all together, and then put the character sheets side by side and be that's the best one. That's the one I'm gonna play.
By best, do you mean statistics? Ability to hit?
Yeah. Well, not just ability to hit, so armor class paired with your speed and your perception, your skill tree, a well-rounded skill tree,
you the one who decides all that, right?
Yeah. He makes multiple.
But depending on the race and class that you choose, you're presented with different options.
Sure.
So, just which one of those pairings, because not every race and every class go well together.
Yeah,
or not
exactly.
Every set of powers that you choose complement each other.
So you go for an optimization route.
Yes.
Okay.
And then from there, I will pick the best built one, and then I name it and write the backstory. So I don't even worry about naming them or anything. I just do race class pairings that I think this could be a good combo, that could be a good combo, that could be a good combo.
Can I just say that naming your character is the hardest thing for me?
Yes, it is.
I almost always entirely
insane.
rely on the classic names for stuff.
The random
or
stuff.
random book characters.
I've Googled elf name generator.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
Or I'll take 2 of the random. When you click on the random name and 5 or 6 pop up, I'll take 2 of them and just mush them together and be there you go.
Yeah.
That's him.
Fantasy.
My character Direwin was literally because I'm Dire win. I'm a dire winning elf.
Yep. That works.
Alright, what about you, Matt?
So I am kind of like a mush pot of different things. I haven't played D&D nearly as long, but I have done a lot of role-playing games prior to it. So a lot of my characterization is, especially for the one-offs, it's all about the drama. Like, if I can make it an interesting character that I'm going to enjoy playing and also cause, like, a little bit of strife in the game, like, all power to that. But, like, in more recent campaigns where I know, like, I want a character to last and I'm going to actually have, like, some, like, attachment to it, I try to plan it out. So I usually start with, what role am I playing? So I'm really used to role-playing games where it's kind of like a party system where you have different roles.
So do you want to be
Like
the striker?
tank.
Do you want to be the
Tank.
defender? Do you want to be the
at
controller?
range? Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fair.
Where are you going to fit in the group dynamic?
Exactly. So in that, I usually confer with my group a little bit before I start making a character.
Yeah.
But if not, I
That's
usually
the
just...
smart way to
So we
go.
don't all like wind up as like casters.
Everyone just
No
shows
healer.
right.
Everyone's a wizard and they all do magic missile.
Yeah.
Yep.
But for the most part, yeah, I start with the role, and then I kind of go with, okay, what in this role have I either not done or I really like to do, and I've done before, and I choose that, and then I kind of start from there. Like, the most recent character I've made, which is for a campaign we haven't played yet, I've been joking about making a wizard, which is a wizard with asthma, because...
A wizard.
So that's, like, the starting point, and then I wanted my wizard to be... like, in charge of, like, fire and ice shit, because not my idea. I may have stolen that from, like, a Korean manhwa I've been reading for, like, the last year or so. And he's going to be a chef, also from that Korean manhwa. So, I'm stealing ideas, but I'm making them my own, because he is going to be, like, part of I like about making characters is a lot of times you're brainstorming with your players and your other people as well, so you're joking, but at the same time, you're like, but what if?
Yeah, well, we're all together sort of starting to create the characters for the campaign that I'm going to be running. I would be like, oh yeah, with, like, if you do pick that feat, like, my headcanon is that every time this happens. And you're like, I like that.
Exactly.
Like, that's kind of fun. Because sometimes you get, like, a base, like, description of kind of what, like, magic does or what your attack does. I like to, like, read that and then make sure it fits with whatever situation it is. So it's not just like, this just means that I stab them with my sword, and then I stab them with my sword. I'm like, alright, I stab them with my sword, but then I do a sick backflip. And like, you can make it your own for that character, and I think that's really fun.
Yeah, and a lot of that goes into characterization for, like, building a backstory for them. It's like, why? Like, what is their motivation for being who they are?
Why do I do the sick backflip?
Yes! And that's where the backstory comes in, and oh my god,
Is boring you?
it's so...
Sorry.
Like,
Tired.
sometimes it's so easy to write a backstory because you have, like, this idea in your head and it just runs and you're, like,
Right.
catching up to it.
Or maybe the DM already built an elaborate world and presented you with all this information. You're like, oh, I could easily just change two things, and all of a sudden I fit in that realm, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of good things like that work together. But yeah, I'm more methodical about building my character, so I start from point A to point B, and then I kind of go to point D, C, F, and G. So it's fun, though.
You have like a checklist. You're like, alright, I've done this, now on to this.
Yeah.
I kind of like that though, because that means I feel like you understand everything that your character needs to do, whereas sometimes I'm like whimsically building my character and I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely a power that fits. And then I just forget that I have that power until I read my character sheet like 2 campaigns later and I'm like,
And you're like, whoa!
oh, I can summon a giant toad? Like you forget about these things. You're like, you forget you have dark vision or things like that based on what kind of like race that you play. Yeah, my specialized.
Well, yeah, there's so many things that are just part of the character, not because you chose it, but because that's just a feature of what you chose. So then, like, you get into, like, the nitty-gritty of your character sheet, and you're like, look at all this stuff that, like, I didn't even know was there. And then, you know, what's great is when that actually lines up with the stuff that you did choose. So it's like this racial feat that's just given to me fits perfectly with this power that I selected for a whole nother reason, but now I can use them together, like having elven accuracy or something, and you're like, that works with this one because it's like a ranged bow and arrow attack, and
Like how I made my halfling lizard and halfling lizard.
halfling lizard.
My halfling wizard, and apparently halflings have in 5th edition have 2 different like traits. You're either lightfoot or you're stout.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be a fat little chef that shoots fire and ice.
And I love it.
Well, and so we did just make our first ever 5th edition characters.
Mm-hmm.
A lot less to choose than 4th edition. So there's definitely a few more like streamlined process.
The way that people describe 4th edition based like in comparison to 3.5 is insanely complicated, and then everyone's like, well, the 4th edition's way too dumbed down. 5th edition kind of took like some of the dumbed downness, but then added a couple of extra details into these things. And it's definitely, you guys are only starting at level 3. The more that you level up, the way more opens up, and I think that's really interesting. So it's gonna be your first 5th edition campaign.
Yeah. Just exciting.
Like, one wrap-up question is, how much of yourself do you think you put into your characters when you're playing?
At least 30%.
At least 30%.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like, half the time, I'm kind of a bad role player. Half the time, I forget I'm supposed to be role-playing a certain type, and then I'm just me.
But like, this makes me mad.
Yes.
You mean
So
this
it
makes your
makes-
wizard mad? Yes!
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Definitely when it comes into, like, I guess the decision-making process that's going to have, like, major consequences. It's a lot harder to think as the character because you're more used to thinking about bigger picture or more like dire circumstances. You're used to thinking as you.
Yeah.
You know, so like the role playing aspect, like little conversations or like mini interactions, you can be like, this is something that I would never do, but like my guy does that because why not?
Yeah.
But then you get into this like big like do or die thing, and I think you definitely in those situations think with the brain that you know to think with.
Yeah, and that's definitely...
And
I get what you're saying.
you know, as
you're not
opposed to
thinking right.
as opposed
The lower
to
brain.
your character's brain that's
Yeah.
not necessarily wired the same way as yours. It's harder to do
Absolutely.
that in those at least I think in those
I think so.
Do or
I
die
definitely
situations. Do or die
like,
situations,
have to be
yeah.
really conscious for like when it's really intense moments and your decisions really matter to like try really hard not to meta.
Yeah.
Right.
Essentially, because I'm like, if I do this, then maybe I'll get better loot. But like, I know that maybe my character would do this, but if I do this, I'll get better loot. Like,
but
Which
your
is why-
character might not always be loot driven, even though we are always loot driven.
Yeah, exactly. Savannah, Sam is loot driven, but
Also
not necessarily this character.
Yeah.
Maybe not the tree, but most of your rogues.
Yeah, most of my rogues, my
Well,
many
and
rogues.
so that's where you're inserting yourself into
exactly
your character, or not inserting yourself, but just building your character around you as a foundation.
I like to say that I take like one like aspect of myself and I sort of like build upon that and kind of make a caricature of like a certain part of myself. So like Darren was like this rogue and I designed her to be like an angsty person who's just like in it for herself, wants the loot, wants to be a backstabby butt. And she would go and do that, and that was really fun for me to play. But then, like, Pip is like, I'm here to help, and I think that I'm making friends, even though they maybe don't care about me. Like,
So
that's like the wholehearted part of me, and then there's like the cynical part of me, and then you just like expand upon like
Character
like
development.
yeah, like a small character trait can like
Blow up.
blow up
Yeah.
into a full-fledged character, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what I do.
Nice.
I like that you have grapes hidden behind the DM screen.
Every good D&D game needs snacks.
This is true.
Pencil.
So tell us
All right, yeah.
in the comments how you build your characters and your process, because I love to hear. Because I didn't know that we all each had like such
Did it
different.
differently, yeah.
I've seen you make your characters, so I've kind of seen how you do it, but I didn't know like all of us were so drastically different. So tell us if yours is different, or if you're like me, and then I'll give you a high five.
Or you just don't care and you
Or
just
agree.
roll random and you're like, this is my character now.
That's true. You just tell your friend, just make one for me. I'll pick it up when I get there.
I could never.
I know.
I need the control.
I've done
Yes.
that before. I've made characters for other people and then just handed it to them, and that it never goes well.
No, you need some like attachment to your character to
For sure,
roleplay them.
for sure. But anyways, thanks for watching. Check out our other episodes. I think this is episode 6.
7.
Maybe.
We've
Six.
done
Check out our
we've
other
done a few,
episodes.
so there will be a link to the previous episode at the end of this video. Check out our other videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.